Good afternoon, my name's Amber. I'm a flower farmer florist from Blooms on the Hill in Budgeree in Gippsland, and it's a bit rainy and horrible today, so I'm inside just dealing with some straw flowers. I picked 2 buckets the other day. They're still going. It's the end of autumn and they're still going, and yesterday I picked another bucket. So I'm just bunching them up. So I just thought I'd show you how I dry them. So I'm doing them up in bunches of 10 and put a little bit of string on. So what I've been doing is I've been going through the colours just so I don't have to separate them into lots of colours once they're dried and then mix them and tie them up. That's what I have been doing, because I like to sell my bunches with colours fairly mixed. I've just been going through and counting up 10, so 10 stems together, and making sure I'm having a good mix of the colours as I go. So I've got pink, I've got burgundy, I've got copper red, I have a yellow one, so it's 4. There's a salmon rose, which is really nice. There's a pale pink. I think that one's the silvery rose. That one would be the normal pink, that one there. And that one's a silvery rose. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe we'll go another yellow one. That one's got a few on it. 7. Oh, a white one. 8. We've got another pink one. 9. Oh, go another yellow. 10. There's a spider on it. Go away. And then just give the ends a trim. So if you're going to hang anything up to dry, just put them in bunches of 10 so that you make sure that they've got enough sort of airspace, I suppose, so that you don't have too much in, because you want them to dry properly. I'm just getting an elastic band, putting it around the end. I'm having trouble with my elastic bands. I keep snapping. You need to put them somewhere where they're out of the light, because they do deteriorate. I just cut a piece of string, about so much, thread it through the elastic band. Okay, there we go. And then I can hang it up like that, and I'll show you where I hang them to dry. So this is my kids' schoolroom. I homeschool my children. So it's like a bombs hit it, because they do all their artwork in here, and when we go to do schoolwork there's never any space. Anyway, I hang them up here. It's just a string that my husband very so kindly strung up for me. These ones on the end up here, they're from a few weeks ago, so they're a lot drier. In fact, they probably almost are. And those ones in the middle, I've just shoved them all together to make room for this new lot. So these are all spread out. So they were hung up 2 or 3 days ago. These ones that are nearly dry, they're about ready now. They were not quite, just near the heads they weren't quite dry, but they seem to be a lot better now. But that's really simple. It's a dry room in here. Okay, so you can't hang things up where it's going to be damp, because you'll just end up with mold in your flowers. Straw flowers are pretty much dry anyway, so they dry really easily. So you shouldn't really have any problem, as I said, unless it's moldy or damp area. These have been drying really quickly in here because it gets really hot in here in summer. So now that it's getting cooler, well, I'm actually not finding too much difference in the speed of drying, but you could only assume that they'd be a little bit slower to dry. Now I actually went and I saved some seed yesterday, so I've got some envelopes with lots of the seed in it, so that was really easy too. I went around, now I've got some of the seed heads here. Some of the flowers are getting really dry on the plant, and they actually tend to fade and lose their colour. Here's one that's even more, as long as you can see all the fluffy bits. So the fluffy bits are the centres, and they're like a little parachute, and they of course catch the wind and fly away with a little seed on the end. So I'll show you what the seeds look like. But I've been actually going along and pulling all of this out and just casting it on the ground. So hopefully more will just sprout on their own. Straw flowers, they need light to germinate. So I'm hoping that that's just enough just to cast them out, and then they'll just keep popping up. They'll probably drive me crazy in years to come, I think, all these straw flowers everywhere. But for the moment, it's really good. So I'm just going to pull that center out, and all these, there's the heads come out of that, and I've pulled all the seeds out, and I'll show you. They're all in my hand now. Okay, so there we are. That's all the fluff as well, which obviously the wind picks up, but there's all the seeds. And there's lots and lots and lots, and really easy to collect. So that's it, really. They're, oh, I've just dumped all that fluff all over that bunch of flowers. But look, if you haven't grown them before, I completely recommend them. They're an Australian native. They are pretty easy to grow. Just remember that they do like light to germinate. So if you start them in trays, just a little sprinkling of soil over the top. They started blooming for me probably the middle of spring. I started them in June last year, and I actually had them in trays inside the house, and then I planted them out probably September, thereabouts. As I said, they started blooming in spring, and they've gone right through till, well, this is the last week of autumn. So they just keep coming. They're fantastic, and they're easy to harvest, and they're nice. Look, I've got some here just sitting in a vase on their own, and they look great. They are also a really good secondary flower in a bouquet, in a mixed bouquet, or if you're going for your 5 ingredients and having a focal flower and a spike shape and something a bit textural or something a bit wispy, and then this is your daisy shape. But it's also got that lovely papery crunch to it, and they're so bright. They're fantastic dried. I've sold heaps of these dried. I bunch them up, well, I hang them up in bunches of 10. Yeah, and then I sell them in bunches of 40 stems, which I've been selling for $20, which I don't really think is enough, really. But for where I've got them, I think it's sort of okay. I've got them down at my post office, and I think they're all right for that price. And also at markets, I think that's asking that price is all right too. So potentially we'll have a price rise next year, but each to their own, but that's what they're going for with me at the moment. So highly recommend them. If you haven't given them a go, do so. They're really cheerful. Anyway, I will hope you've learnt something about straw flowers and give them a go. I'll catch up with you another time. Bye.